There are plenty of perfectly good reasons to be annoyed by the Super Smash Bros. Series. Whether it's the games themselves, the game modes, the stages, the characters, or things adjacent to the game, like the fans, the competitive scene, Nintendo's attitudes toward the fans, and competitive scene. There's no shortage of valid personal grievances one could have with these games. But I have a weird one. While there are several areas I have some distinct and strong feelings about, and maybe I could talk about in a future video, the thing I want to talk about today is one that I hear almost nobody mention, despite the fact that it's bothered me since my first time playing Melee as a wee lad. And this isn't simply a matter of opinion or personal preference either. This is something that Smash Bros. Does, and has always done, that is objectively incorrect. It is factually and provably wrong. It's not simply that I personally don't like it. It's that they straight up don't do it correctly. And what's so egregious that it's got me this worked up, you may ask? It's this.
Game. Donkey Kong wins.
Wait. What's wrong with that? You just lost to a level 1 Donkey Kong CPU. No. Take a closer listen. What, is it his sampled gorilla voice instead of using the voice actor or something? No, not that. Listen to the music.
This game's winner is Donkey Kong.
What, the victory music? That's just the bonus game win song from Donkey Kong Country. Nope! It's wrong. What do you mean it's wrong? Just listen to the original. What are you talking about? It's exactly the same. Nope! It's missing 2 notes. Huh? Now, forgive me for not having the necessary music theory vocabulary to explain this on a technical level, but the first part is right at the beginning. There's a lead-in note anticipating the downbeat of the first measure, where the Smash version doesn't have any anticipation and just starts on the downbeat of the first measure. And in the second measure, there's a note missing, where the Smash version plays 2 C notes in a row, Donkey Kong Country breaks those 2 C notes up by moving a full step up to D for an 8th note, and then moving back down to the second C. See? It's wrong! That's dumb. And you are a straw man. Ah! But in all seriousness, as somebody who grew up playing the original Donkey Kong Country, it being one of my earliest gaming memories, to jump into Melee for the first time and to hear this version of the theme, something felt off, even if I couldn't articulate it at the time. And no, this isn't an instrumentation thing. I'm not calling it bad because they use a different instrument, or have a different backing track, or change the tempo. The ultimate remix of Gangplank Galleon is mostly trumpets, where the original had like a pirate concertina into an electric guitar. And yet I love that remix to death. This isn't me crying that, oh no, the electric guitar kicks in a different part of Counterattack from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. They ruined my song. They're allowed to take liberties when remixing things for a different game in a different genre. They changed Cass's theme from Breath of the Wild from a lazy, 3/4 time waltz to a high-intensity track in 4/4 time, and it kicks ass! And most importantly, it is still recognizably Cass's theme because the primary melody remains entirely intact, despite all the changes around it. But that's the precise part that Smash continually and habitually screws up in DK's victory theme. The main melody. The part you would hum if you're humming along to it. The part the words would follow if the song had lyrics. And compared to the original, it's like the Smash Bros. Version skips 2 entire words. And it sounds awkward to me. Like, imagine listening to Shake It Off by Taylor Swift, but they just say, shake off. Or how would you feel about Miley Cyrus's Party in the UA? This is so sad. Alexa, play Despacito. to Donkey Kong's victory theme in Smash Bros. Feels like that. That lyrical quality the melody has is disrupted because it's not all there. It's the difference between listening to I just won the game, I really won the game, I really, really won the game, and listening to just won the game, I really won game, I really, really won the game. The musical sentence, if you will, that the melody creates doesn't feel right because it's just dropped a couple musical words, that being the notes in this case. And do you want to know what makes this really funny? The Super Smash Bros. Series director, Masahiro Sakurai, has a YouTube channel called Masahiro Sakurai on Creating Games, where he has several series of videos talking about his experience and insights and personal philosophies with game development. It's a goldmine of practical wisdom and behind-the-scenes information that had never seen the light of day before. I recommend you check it out, actually. It's pretty cool. There's one video in particular on his channel where he discusses the process of arranging remixes for Smash games. And the statement he makes in that video is the song you hear when playing the original game is what is right. To the point where he even talks about how he sat in on recording sessions to make sure the vocalist got the intonation right on the English lyrics to the Psycho Soldier theme that nobody else had acknowledged the existence of for 30 years. And all I could think while watching this video is, yeah, that's really cool, and I respect the hell out of you for doing that. And now the Psycho Soldier theme is stuck in my head for the rest of my life, so thanks for that. But not to be rude or anything, but where the butts was this philosophy when you were remixing Metal Man's theme for Mega Man 2, because the original had this really prominent driving counter melody that acts as the heartbeat of the song and is like the best part of the song and is the reason Metal Man's theme is my favorite song in Mega Man 2, and it's just not in the Smash version? I mean, yeah, it's technically present, but only in like the first 8 seconds of the unrepeated intro, and even then it's barely audible in the mix, so while it's technically in there for counter-argument's sake, that doesn't change the fact that the entire rest of the arrangement has a gaping hole where the counter melody should be, and that makes me really sad. Oh yeah, and also Donkey Kong. But perhaps I am being a little too harsh here. After all, I grew up with the original version of Donkey Kong Country, and as such, that's the only frame of reference I had for this theme. And it's possible that the Smash Bros. Version of Bonus Game Win is based on some other variation of the theme from a different game. And since 2 and 3 used a different musical cue altogether, maybe it's the end-level theme from the Game Boy companion to DKC1, Donkey Kong Land. Oh, no, actually that's exactly the same as DKC1. Well, even though it came out a year after Smash 64, maybe the Game Boy Color version of DKC1 is what they're referencing. Nope, that's exactly the same also, but maybe it doesn't actually matter. Maybe after Smash Bros. Came out, its version of the theme got adopted into the series, like maybe in the Game Boy Advance remake. Nope, not there. It's still the same. But what about Donkey Kong Country Returns? That came out 2 years after Brawl, the third Smash game, had firmly established its version of the DK Win theme, and 7 years after the last time that jingle was used in an actual Donkey Kong game, which itself was a remake. So if they were ever going to change... Okay, but that soundtrack was largely a nostalgic homage to the original and was done by Kenji Yamamoto of Metroid fame. But if anyone would know whether the parts of the song that Smash omitted are truly that unimportant to the musical identity of that jingle or not, it would surely be the piece's original composer, would it not? So if David Wise, who did the music for DK Country 1 and 2, ever had the chance to redo the piece with modern techniques, I wonder what that would sound like. Is what I would say if I hadn't played Tropical Freeze. Okay, this is an interesting one. Quite a bit to unpack, so I'm going to play it a second time for your benefit. So, not only does this version not make the omissions that Smash does. It instead expands and doubles down on those exact musical ideas that Smash Bros. Continually refuses to include. Starting at the start with the lead-in note, not only is it in there, but now there's another one. It has a friend. Plus, he also added a new downbeat anticipation leading note for the second measure. This man literally doubled down on the anticipation notes in more ways than one. There are now 2 of them where there used to be 1 in the first half, and now there's a new one for the second measure, where Smash Bros. Takes away, David Wise adds onto. It's almost as though he considers it to be an important musical idea for the piece that, oh yeah, by the way, he flipping wrote. Speaking of which, not only does this arrangement not exclude the high note, but that full step down from the D note to the C note in the second measure was considered an important enough musical idea to the identity of the piece that the original composer modified the first measure to also contain that movement. There's no new notes added, but by changing what used to be 2 of the same note into a similar full step down from D to C, that acts as musical foreshadowing and reinforcement to the exact musical idea that Super Smash Bros. Is hell-bent on specifically choosing to remove every single time they remix this song.
The winner is Donkey Kong.
There is also the ending of the piece that differs a bit between the original and Tropical Freeze. But they're both very similar big band, big finish type movements. Just Tropical Freeze has a jazzier, looser feeling variation on it, which once again adds notes instead of removing them for a little extra expressiveness. But maybe, just maybe, after all that, you're still unconvinced. Maybe this is a me problem. Maybe I am overreacting. And if you think that's the case, we can agree to disagree, I suppose. So please, before you click off the video, enjoy these 100% acceptable Smash Bros. Appropriate arrangements of other great Nintendo themes that I made specifically to illustrate a final point, that if you see no problem here, then these should in no way make you deeply uncomfortable. Okay, love you, bye!